What's up, guys? Fully streaming here. I wanted to quickly go over the patch notes for version 6.01. Let's quickly go through this. There's not really much to talk about here, but there are some important things in the store that you definitely want to get your hands on before next week ends. So, the lead sled is a fast swinging hammer. For those that don't know, hammers, or otherwise known as hardware weapons, are really good for constructors, and this particular weapon is a fast swinging hardware weapon. So constructors, more like Sid specifically, can really shine with that weapon. What I mean is, Sid has an increased critical hit rating, and you can definitely make that hammer into a crit chance weapon. And what the kinetic overload does, which every constructor has, but Sid really does shine with that kinetic overload. It deals 140 plasma energy damage and knockback to the target, so you can definitely go nuts with that weapon. Another weapon that's really important in the store is the Obliterator. The Obliterator, if you don't know, is one of the best snipers in the game, if not the #1 best. I don't know, it's kind of hand in hand with, in my opinion, the if I had to choose another best sniper, it would probably be the Neon Sniper, just because you can definitely see, I mean, it has its punch through just like the Obliterator, but it's like an X-ray kind of weapon. You could see enemies through structures, and that's really cool. But I think I'm gonna have to go with the Obliterator because I love destroying structures. I hate having to, well, before the Obliterator was even made, I hated having to pickaxe at, you know, the little stuff like the trees and the bushes and just like houses that were in the way around the objective. And what the Obliterator does, it destroys non-player structures, so you could really just clear out like very easily, since the weapon has punch through and it goes through anything. Like it doesn't have a limit to what the bullet will go through. I mean, unless it's like a player structure, but it'll go through that player structure and it hit whatever else that's in the game already. So for instance, buildings, houses, what have you, that's in the game that was not built by players, it'll not only destroy it, but it'll go through all of the structures that you are pointing at. So let's just say I'm doing a atlas, right? And then there are houses around that atlas and I want to clear it out. All I need to do is just point and shoot, and it'll go through that house, and with a couple shots that house will be gone. If you know, if you pickaxe the surrounding area of the let's just call it a session structure, because you know, a non-player built structure. Okay, there's no like short way of saying it, I guess, but a structure that is already in the game, if you destroy the lower parts, the what's holding the top half of the house or building or whatever, everything else would get destroyed. So what you do is you shoot the house around it, like under it, and then everything else will get destroyed, and eventually you'll have a clearer path to where the enemies are going to be coming in, and it definitely makes the session much easier. So I definitely recommend you get this weapon. I'm totally surprised that they even threw this back into the store so soon. This was a recent event weapon, but hey, like, just congrats to you guys for those that was not able to get it. I mean, you had 2 chances to get this weapon. Before the Birthday Llamas came out, the Obliterator was in that event, and then the Birthday Llamas came out and you had a chance of getting the Obliterator, and I thought that was going to be it until next year, but apparently they're giving you a 3rd chance to get that weapon. So definitely don't miss out. It's right in the store. You don't have to focus on RNG with those llamas. Like, guys, definitely get that weapon. I cannot stress that enough. Mythic Kyle is also in the store. I mean, you can get him whenever you want to, so I wouldn't take him as like the first priority, but he is there for those that want him. That specific constructor is top tier, so you know, don't sleep on that. If you've gotten everything else in the store and you feel like you definitely want, you know, a top tier constructor, if you're a constructor man, that is. Something that I wanted to talk to you guys about, and it really sucks. As you know, I love playing as constructors, specifically the penny demolitionist type of constructor, which is top tier as well. And I'm afraid to say she was nerfed. Well, the decoy class, anybody with decoy has been nerfed. Decoy no longer attracts mist monsters, and it no longer attracts bosses. That may not sound like a big deal, but it is. Pretty much, you wanted to gain or take the aggro of these types of enemies away from your objectives, since these guys were the true enemies that were terrorizing your session. Now you got like the smaller enemies like the husk and the husky husk, but I mean they're a lot easier to deal with than like a smasher that's about to charge your base, and you definitely never want that to happen. Well, you should be building appropriately anyway so he doesn't charge, but you know, you always had decoy to make sure, or to buy time at least, and prevent them from charging your base or defense, whatever you're doing at the time. And there's a real issue with this. There's new problems with this nerf, and what I mean is you got bosses that like to teleport. Like, I mean, I don't even know why this is a feature, but you have bosses that teleport inside of your objective and then destroy it from within. So let's just say you built, you're doing like a retrieve the data, right? And you build your box around the objective. What's gonna happen is the boss is just gonna appear out of nowhere and just gonna teleport inside your retrieve the data box, and then what he's gonna do is he's gonna destroy it from within, and your trap's gonna do nothing because you built traps around your defense, so it's not gonna do much, if anything at all. I mean traps don't damage enemies from behind the traps. And what happens is you would have a smasher. If it's a smasher, this is much worse, because the smasher would teleport in the objective, do a charge, and then charge through everything from behind. So let's just say, or for example, because this actually happened to me very recently after this nerf. I was doing a evacuate the shelter, and I spent a lot of resources building traps. I built the appropriate defense for retrieve the data, and what happens is we're doing great. Enemies are dying left and right, like we're not having any issue, and then you got the smasher just comes out of nowhere and teleports. He goes past the traps, he teleports into the objective, into the shelter area, right? And you know, mist monsters don't damage. I don't know if you know this, but mist monsters do not damage the objective. All they do is pretty much annoy you, the player. Like, they don't do anything to the objective. Smashers, the reason why they're the worst type of enemy to teleport behind the objective, because not only are they destroying it from within, but if they so choose to, they will just charge at your defense. Like, because smashers don't like slanted walls, right? So that's the only reason why, if you put, let's just say, steps in front of a wall, they will punch it rather than charge it. Like, they will never charge that. However, if they go behind the objective, they have nothing hindering them from charging that wall. And if you don't have, I mean, there's nothing you could really do. If that charger decides to smash or charge inside of your defense, he's gonna go through like freaking wet paper, like wet toilet paper. He's gonna go through your entire defense, and then that's gonna leave your defense wide open. And I mean, it gets much worse than this. Sometimes you get those bosses, right, where wherever they walk, you cannot build anything wherever they are. So this makes things much worse, because not only did the smasher just ruin your entire defense, you can't retaliate. You can't, even if you think quickly, you can't do anything to defend your objective. I mean, now you can like shoot like crazy and hope that you're gonna get these kills, but realistically, that's not gonna happen. I mean, if you got slow filled, maybe you could be saved a little bit, maybe you could buy a little time, but the point is that it's absolutely very difficult after that point to save the objective. And I brought this to, well, I attempted to bring this to Epic's attention. in the forums. Now, just reminding you guys that Epic, the developers anyway, are, as far as I know, are not in the forums, but you have spokespeople from Epic that relay information to the teams. So I posted my thoughts on, the nerf for Decoy, and I was pretty much just saying the nerf for Decoy. Let's just say, like, you guys, you have a valid reason to nerf. Let's just say they had a valid reason to nerf the Decoy, right? Well, I did a counter argument and said, okay, if you guys want to nerf the Decoy, then nerf bosses teleporting behind objectives. Like, I don't even know why they're teleporting in the first place. And I read in the comments somewhere in the forums that was actually a bug. I'm actually not sure about that. But if you feel like that's a bug, just feel free to let me know, because I'm still left in the dark about that. And if it does happen to be a bug, that's been there for a really long time, to the point where I just thought that was a feature. If that's been a bug and that's never been touched, however, like Decoy was, that wouldn't be really good. But I'd have to hear that from an official source to go any further with that. But for now, I'm just gonna call it a feature, since I don't have confirmation that it's a bug. Anyway, I got some really good feedback on that post in the forums. I believe I got about 300 upvotes, and no disagrees. Like, I didn't get any kind of counter arguments to, because there's really nothing that can be argued against why it's okay for bosses to teleport behind your entire defense and just destroy it from within. I mean, first of all, when you place, let's just say I placed a wall, and then I placed a wall launcher. I cannot edit that wall to get behind that wall. Now that wall is pretty much just cement, and the only way to get behind that wall is to either destroy it, have the enemy destroy it, or you can try to go over it. But a lot of the time, when you have the opportunity to get inside of your defense, I mean, usually when you build, it's like let's just call it like something similar to like a turtle shell. Like, you got the turtle armor that's surrounding the body, and then you have the turtle itself, which is in other words the objective inside of that turtle shell. And nothing is really meant to get in there, and you got the annoying boss that's going in there unfairly and terrorizing that objective, and there's nothing you can do about that. So hopefully Epic has seen that. I didn't get any kind of message from the spokespeople from the forums. Rather than call them spokespeople, maybe I should just call them the moderators. They're the moderators of the forums, and they'll sometimes send a message saying that they'll send it to the team, depending on how popular the post gets and how well received it was. And if you watch my recent videos, I say, like, if you've got anything to say, if you've got any kind of issues with Epic or just the game itself, always make sure your comments are constructive. Always make sure that you are not being rude. Be respectful when trying to speak with them, because usually that gets you the best feedback from both the team as well as the people that want to support you and what you're trying to argue against or for, depending on what's going on. So that's pretty much it, guys. There really wasn't much for us, and that's another conversation for later, because we've got the cram session, and that wasn't actually well received. I say, like, there's two arguments to this. Some people agree that we need a break. We, as in the Save the World players. You got people that specifically only play this game mode, and then you have those that do both BR and Save the World. And either is fine. I don't have an issue. Like, I personally don't care. I mean, I play Save the World most of the time, there's currently nothing for me to do, so maybe that's why I'm on the side of wanting an event rather than the cram session, since I pretty much have done everything in the game, and it's nothing for me to do. I have I have every weapon at this point, so I'm always looking for something new to do. But I end up always playing anyway. I don't know why. I just love the game that much. Yeah, so that I'll save that for a different video. Let me check here. It says that they have some bug fixes, but you know, again, usually it's things that you probably wouldn't even notice that was wrong with the game. Let me see. Fix an issue that could cause a hitch while using the leap attack with the Walloper hammer. I mean, I don't think people still use that weapon, but you know, oh, and elemental visual effects on weapons are now hidden along with your character when the camera is too close to you. I mean, okay. I'm glad they're working on some fixes. Alright guys, just a heads up, I'm in the middle of a move, so however, I'll still do my best to still post videos at least once a week. Thanks for your support, thanks for your feedback, and I mean, I don't know, it's hard to say. Like, I couldn't have done these videos without you guys, so thanks for being there. Even with those negative comments, I still appreciate you. You give me more ideas, or you continue to push me into making better videos. So definitely appreciate that, and hope that you keep giving some kind of criticism. Doesn't even matter, negative or positive, it still helps. So I'll catch you guys around, and take care.